Yes, hello, and welcome to this webinar event. We have some people joining still here, and so we're going to wait a couple of more seconds before we start, and I'll be right back with you here. Okay, well, this is Jan speaking to you all here. I'll talk a little bit about myself here in a second, although this is actually all about you. We're going to start off now, and first of all, everybody, thank you for joining. It's awesome that you took some time off in your day and afternoon that you were able to join here. So let's dig in. This is how to get more clients with Google. The 10 secrets to easily gain new clients and dollars from local search marketing. It's a special webinar that I put together for business professionals in the dentists, doctors, surgeons, chiropractors, attorneys area. And that's not to say that if you are a florist or a plumber, you can't benefit from this. In fact, if you are, you need to sit through. There's some pretty cool bonuses here at the end that's available for all. This is not a sales pitch or a sales fest. This is all content for you. In fact, as you dive into this and you start taking some notes, and as you listen to me speak, I truly hope that you get this message that I'm here to help you. I know how tough it is. I'm a small business owner myself. I have a search marketing firm out there helping small businesses to grow. And I write about these things. In fact, I write for Entrepreneur Magazine. I've written a number of blogs. I have a new book that just came out just a couple of months ago. That's in the bookstores now on SEO and social media and pay-per-click. And, the truth, though, is this is not about me at all. This session and this webinar is all about helping you to make some changes. In some cases, perhaps even some small changes to make some pretty good inroads in terms of new clients, acquisitions of those, onboarding those clients, but also creating more revenue, right? It's a win-win, and we're going to take you through it here today. And while I do speak about social media and other tactics, we're going to cover Facebook briefly. I'm not going to go too deep on any of all of these. As you probably have figured out, marketing has gotten kind of complex, right? There's so much you can do. There's so many strategies, and every time it seems like somebody has some new program to sell you, and I'm just going to kind of play it up real here for you. So let's dig in here, and we're going to start out with a little bit of a backgrounder. And that backgrounder is about you. We're going to make some assumptions here, and I think I'm going to be pretty dead on this slide here. Your ultimate goal is to attract more clients, right? But not just any old clients. You want quality clients. These are clients that pay, clients that keep coming back, clients that refer out, clients that talk about you, and clients that pay, right? So the worst thing we know of in this industry or any industry is whiny clients. I personally don't like them, and I like to stay away from those, and I know that's same's going to be true for you. More money. Well, that's the benefit of having more clients. And if you have structured your business well and you don't have a massive amount of overhead and you have basically set up financial systems and income streams to support it, well, not only can you make more money, but your profits will increase. And that's consistently and over time. You don't need a smart marketing tactic that works today and for the next month only to just die off. I mean, you see them all the time, right? I talked about that a few minutes ago. Don't do it. This is a long-term, steady building organic growth we're talking about. Then, of course, let's get philosophical for a moment. You want to take more time off. It goes really hand in hand with the final point to the bottom there, have more fun. When we were children, right, growing up, what was it all about? Just fun, fun, fun. As the years went by and we got a little sideswiped by real life, right, things started to change, and perhaps, some of you on this call, you've lost a little bit of the dreaming, the fun, and in some cases, some of you, I'm in my profession, I have my own business, but I hate it. I need to change something. Well, I'm not going to get into life coaching or philosophical depth on this call. That's glad to take those questions and thoughts as well. But really, this is about local search marketing. In fact, since I mentioned questions, there is a form there. If you have questions along the way, Take some notes on your notepad or paper, but feel free, send them in through the form there. I'll be glad to answer you and help you out there. No worries at all. So this is kind of an assumption that we're making, and if I can hit these marks here today, then I think, well, I hope that I've done a pretty good job. So the key to all of this, right, is knowledge is not power. See at the bottom? Application is. So if you know all of this stuff and you're not applying it, well, then you're just as good as your neighbor who's doing very little as well. You need to actually take these and implement them. And the way that you do this is by assigning certain tasks to yourself, right? Goals are going to be very important to establish in terms of A, what are they? And B, when can I get them done? And if you can assign yourself 30 to 60 minutes weekly, and by the way, these tasks are not complex, and they're not tasks that, you know, all of a sudden you're going to be thinking about trying to get these completed in your workday. No, these can actually be done on the weekend. And I talked about taking time off and have fun with your friends and family. This, as you're building out, might be just one of those, hey guys, I'm going to go here and take some time because I need to take care of some tasks that Jan has described for me. So if you can answer this truthfully and say, absolutely, I can commit to that. And remember, you may find that for some of you, right, some of the business, you are sort of out of compliance in terms of Google Local and Google Local Search. So you might have to spend a little more time initially only to sort of balance it out. But this is a great starting point. And of course, if you have more time, hey, more the merrier, right? If you can do more and it's strategically aligned with your business, then I would advise you to take a look at that. Now, I wanted to create a bit of a storyline around this in a couple of scenarios. In scenario one here, I'm using the dentist as an example. So you're out of dentistry school, and you know all there is to know about dentistry, of course, and you know you're cum laude and all of the credentials that you need to get out in the field, and you've established an office, a name for yourself. You have your chair, right, equipment. You know you have the license with the city, with your local town, whatever it might be. You're all set. But there's something missing. The patients, the clients, of course. You need that. You don't need just an initial seed, but also long-term. And we're going to talk about that long-term throughout this webinar. But initially, it just may be referrals, the word of mouth, WOM, that you see there. Perhaps you took out some local newspaper ads or articles that you had pushed out there, posters, you know, brochures, business cards. And certainly, as you're out in your community, networking, you know, the mixers and church affairs, community affairs, all this stuff allows you to be out there and basically promote. And promote is a big piece of it. If you know, so my favorite example is I'm actually a guitar player. Well, if I'm playing in my basement and I'm not promoting myself and I'm not talking to people, then I'm just a guitar player playing in the basement. That's not very helpful. So what we need to do is we need to get you out there. And I'll talk about how you can do this for a small business as you can in scenario two, a larger business. And this could be now you as you have progressed from school in those earlier years into maybe a larger dentistry in this example. And perhaps you even have offices east and west or expanded out in several regions in Los Angeles. Well, now you have a different problem. Perhaps, right? Now the overhead is what's really killing you. Plus internal procedures, you know, lawsuits. This all of a sudden got more complex. It got more competitive as well now because you're in marketplaces where people really compete, right? So the word of mouth still works. You want those referrals. That needs to be an ongoing effort. But now you need to expand perhaps your offline campaigns, right? And how do you do it all? Well, again, you need a plan. You need good strategies and tactics that you can apply. But, you know, what is the best way to serve this model? Well, what I'm about to describe for you are the 10 secrets, and a lot more after that, actually. But those 10 secrets will really help you get established to really compete quite well in any of these marketplaces, in any of these scenarios. But, of course, it will be easier to rank, to show up in search engines, in scenario one, which is that smaller marketplace. Now, this is your new world, and we're going to take care of you here. So before we start, I want to continue by talking about some words that we use. And it's not all, but these are certainly key terms that you'll hear come up again and again, and I think it's useful for you to understand what they mean. SEO, search engine optimization. Interesting. It's not actually optimizing search engines. It's optimizing web pages. And so what you do there is to make sure that it's search engine friendly, that the spiders and the robots can find you, the bots. But you want to make sure that you have engaging content, that both your HTML, meaning the code behind the scenes, as well as the things you do see, are quite friendly to users and search engines. Queries, pretty simple. Searches, right? If I query or search for you, are you found? On-page factors. I talked a little bit about that just a minute ago. That's your code. That's your content. So text, simply text. I mean, search engines read text, not images, not videos, not flash. They read the text. And so it's the text that you see plus the code behind the scenes, and that is actually what renders your site. That is what displays your site, and that's called HTML, right? XHTML is the extended version of that. But listen, you don't have to worry about these technical aspects too much. And in this course, we're going to cover the tactics that actually help you bring in more leads. Off-page factors, incoming links, referrals, references, reviews, citations. You'll hear a number of different terms for this during the webinar, but just suffice it to know that those are important factors for ranking and for trust and authority building. Users, visitors, prospects, pretty straightforward. Real-time search. Well, you probably have searched, if you had searched for any of the recent global events in Google, you'll see real-time search. Twitter is embedded in those results, and it's a partnership that Google set up with Twitter to allow those real-time searches to happen. Now, why is this important? Well, you can actually set up real-time search for your own local office if you wanted to, and there's some ways to do it without a massive, workload. Link citations, mention that. Reviews, references. You hear the word citation in this local SEO, local search game, because they are references and citations from local directories, from specific directories that work in your marketplace, from data aggregators, etc. And you'll see how we build these out during this webinar, or rather, where you should get those from in this webinar. LBL, local business listing. That's going to basically be referred to quite often here. It is the listing itself. It's the descriptions and the profile, everything that goes into, basically your profile. Let's call it that. Universal search, blended search. You'll hear that. And this is common now. This has been out there for a while, but universal search, very powerful. Pictures, videos, news, books, products, everything blended into the search results. This is actually quite an opportunity for you. We're not going to cover that in this webinar today, but send me questions on it if you have it. Location-based search, cell phones, big deal. In fact, the VP of Products Local at Google, Marissa Meyer, stated just, I think, 2-3 weeks ago only, that over the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, the Google Maps rendering, meaning how many times the maps were shown, actually bypassed desktop. So people on cell phones out there during the holidays who are finding restaurants and pizza places, local places from their cell phones. You want to make sure that you're there. You want to make sure that you're found, but also there's a number of other opportunities I'm going to share with you here in a second, in a few minutes towards the end. But keep in mind, it's going to be very important to be part of that cell phone revolution, mobile, right? Mobile growth. Maps, Google Maps, that's local. You'll also hear references to local as, oh yeah, you mean Google Maps? Okay, I'm with you. Personalization. If you're logged in with a Gmail account, you won't see necessarily drastic results here, but if you're logged in with a Gmail account and you're building history and user patterns over time, certain searches, and certainly if you vote this up yourself because you have this personal account set up, you're going to see listings show up higher in the search engine results. And in fact, don't be confused by this, because if you're logged in and you're looking for yourself, you may be clapping your hands the day you see that, hey, I'm number 1 or number 2, only to find out, oh, yeah, I'm not, because I'm logged into Gmail and there's a personalization factor going on. Ranking, pretty straightforward, but position within local search results. So hope this helps you, gives you a sense of kind of the terms we use and what I use. Plus, if you use them and think about these, you'll sound a bit like a search marketer yourself, right? That's helpful. And here's a crazy slide. You know what? This is a few years old from my friend Bruce Clay there, but this actually talks about an important aspect of local search. It really is this. Here's the takeaway. If you see Google in there, it's not a single island that you have to concern yourself with. There's many other players here. Info USA, Axiom, Info USA in the top, middle, and Axiom on the right. These are big data aggregators that you should actually be part of. Your business should be in there, and you probably are. But the takeaway is, A, are you there? B, is all of your data consistent across these platforms, and specifically into Google, Yahoo, and Bing, right? You're trying to rank for that stuff. Well, you need to be. Now, this is one of those factors that they look at, and it gets down to your phone number, which is perhaps an easier way to track. But if you have moved or your address is not right, you just need to make sure that this is correct. And I'll show you some power tools here as part of our 10 secrets that will help you with this, and that it will allow this to happen for you. So, right before we go with the secrets, I'm going to just share a quick note about domains. And it's pretty obvious probably, but I needed to mention it. You see here I talk about dentistlosangeles.com or dentistbeverlyhills.com. Much better than Bob's Place. What we're trying to do is we're using keywords here, which have received recently a kind of lessening effect from Google. It used to be you could just buy an exact domain, as it's called, and you'd race right to the top. Well, they're making changes, and they have made changes, so I wouldn't recommend it for that perspective, but people will remember Dentist Los Angeles, right? Rather than some weird shorthand or Bob's Place. They may remember it, but it's not helpful, because when you're out there, handing out business cards, you have to tell them each time what this is all about. If you have a great domain, you can do a lot. This is a business discussion, so we can circle back. In fact, send me some questions on this if you have questions. But we definitely need a good domain. So let's dive in. Secret 1 of 10. Business listing in Search City. This is really simple. Go to google.com, enter your business name. Question, you there? Okay, if you are there, does it look right? Does it look like the entries are correct? Well, you may have already registered. If not, I'm going to show you how to do that. But here's an example of where Google would have pulled data from, say, Info USA Today and Axiom, and they've sort of set up a mini profile already that's not certified or set up from you yet. But you want to take a look and see if you're there, and then scan across Google, Bing, Superpages, Yelp. There's others, and I'll share those with you. But just take a look. Are you there? Well, that's a great first step. Now, secret 2. Remember I talked about those data providers? You need the correct data sets across the board, and they need to be consistent. Now, I mentioned ubl.org. That is actually a paid service. I think I should probably reverse that, but check the basics with getlisted.org first. That's a free service, and all you need is your name and a zip code there, and they will start scanning across Google, Yahoo, and Bing, and also I think BOTW, which is best of the web. And basically, not only will they sort of through a wizard step you through it, but it will tell you very quickly how deep your penetration is in terms of existence with those. And for your local dentistry office, since I'm using that example here, you want to make sure that you're part of local niche directories. And I'll show you an example of that later, but many of those are free. And finally, for those directories, when you sign up, often the marketeers there will send you an email or a note about, hey, for a small fee, you can advertise, you can create banners, maybe even internally some text ads that you can run. So it's sort of pay-per-click within that engine or within that directory. You should tread carefully here, because often what they'll do is they'll pitch you like crazy. And it's not the first thing that I jump on. Let's put it that way, the paid area for that. I'd rather do a local paid on AdWords or Facebook before anything else. But make sure that you are aware of those. And if you do consider it, make sure you understand what you're getting into. Again, it feels very pitchy for the areas that I've been working on. So that's secret number 2. Number 3 here is, okay, go to google.places.com or sorry, places.google.com, and really just go to Google and search for Google Places. Go in there, make sure that you have set up your profile, and assign the categories and associations. I'll show you an example of this later, but you want to make sure that you belong to the right categories and have a rich, full, valid profile of everything that you can have in there, plus the videos and photos. I mean, you do need essentially to tell Google what you are all about. The more the better in this case. Just like as you're building out the pages for SEO, the more skimpy and thin the page is, the less useful it is both to users and search engines. Now, everything that we do works in that way. I should make a side note here. Users first, search engines second, right? If you follow that model, you're going to win. And it's not a overnight situation we're looking at here. This is a long-term building a strong business online that you can be proud of. And if you build it for a long, long time, hey, you can even hand it over to your kids, right? And they're not going to be squeamish about it or, yikes, what did daddy do or what did mommy do here? Secret number 4 of 10, local business listings. Talked about that. Just make sure that when you fill these things out, that you do it across the big three, Google and Bing and Yahoo. And when you do this, think in terms of getting all the data correct. If you do this right, and depending on your marketplace, you may actually within a week or two actually see yourself from seemingly nowhere to page 2 or even squeezing in on page 1 just from getting this right. I mean, it's pretty powerful, and you're setting yourself up for a longer term course where you can build trust and authority, which is certainly very key. Now, here is secret number 5, product and service in the LBL title. I'll show you an example of that, but if you're John Smith, don't just put John Smith DDS, but spell out the keywords, make it a full, rich title without spam. It's an accurate definition or description. It's not something where you go in and stuff. Now, people have tried a lot of different things here in terms of tweaking for the search engines, and you may have done it, and wow, it really works well, only to 30 days later, a week later, or 3 months later, take a hit. Again, don't chance it. This is not where you want to play. Secret number 6, off-page criteria. We talked about the links, the citations. Where do you get those from? Are they trusted sources, or is it sort of spammy networks where they come from adult sites, porn sites? Well, it just is common sense. It's not going to make sense, right? Those citations from the directories, from the local directories, from the data providers, from even regular websites, it's going to be very important, and to build those over time and not spike them, right? Build them organically. Local chambers of commerce, I'll just mention it. I don't think they have a link per se. It's a paid membership, but you have a chance to show your face there, to join up and network. I talked about that earlier. You need to be out there and as an active member of your community, or at least be part of it. You don't have to be necessarily the lead of that, but you need to be part of it. Number 7, customer reviews. If there was one thing that I would probably urge you to do, like quickly, it's this: customer reviews. And keep in mind, reputation management is a big deal. So if you have 20 reviews and 15 of those are all bad, meaning this dentist sucks, to be honest with you, well then that's not great for you. But Google doesn't care. That's 20 quote-unquote good reviews, meaning that's reviews back to your site. So the more you get reviewed, the better it is, and the spiders will pick all this up. And it doesn't have to be all from Google, right? This could be Yelp and Super Pages and other places where people have left reviews, local at Yahoo, for instance. So volume is the key there. And social proof. UGC is just a fancier word for user-generated content. Talked a little bit about it. People who actually submit comments about you. And if you have a blog and people actually, this is getting probably more advanced than you need to, but you can actually assign a username and have people actually add to your blog. Again, it's a completely different strategy. I wouldn't move on that. But the customer reviews, make sure you do it. In fact, I heard of somebody had a computer in their office who, after the patient is done, hey, listen, if you have an account, why don't you just log in and tell us what you think? And no pressure here, right? Just get in there and review it. Another is to put a review URL back on your business card as you hand it out. Put it right in your office on a big sticker somewhere on the wall, right? And don't be afraid to do this. People sort of want to hide. I think it's actually a great opportunity to show that you care and that you can share and you're not afraid of it. And if you are afraid of it, well, maybe you're doing something a bit sort of behind the scenes and you need to revisit your entire office procedures and the way you deal with the business and clients. But we're not going to go there because that's just way too negative, right? So secret 8, general importance here of customer reviews. This just expands on what I said, but I needed to add this, trusted reviews that goes out to Yelp, Superpages, etc. These are going to be extremely valuable for you to get there. In fact, when you do this, don't just set up an opportunity to go out and review on Yelp alone. Everything needs to happen organically is what I'm trying to say. Everything should look natural and common sense. If you have no reviews today and all of a sudden you have 50 reviews by the end of this week and they're all on Yelp, well, something is weird about that pattern. Plus, if they're all, this doctor is fantastic, and just a short blurb and a link back, eventually that's just going to be filtered. Google is smart. It can figure these things out. Also, if you're thinking, hey, I'll just have a bunch of my employees just Google a review, log into Google and review me, and you do it all this week, well, from within the office, it's going to be the same IP address. It's going to look awfully suspicious, right? This is going to be an easy pattern for Google to check and discount it. And so don't do any of that. Just make it natural and go for it. 9, we're coming up on 10, guys. Importance of on-page criteria. This is what I call the regular old SEO. This is the code behind the scenes. It's the text, the tags, the title, description, all of those things that SEO is sort of cornerstones of SEO, and synonyms and keywords. And basically here we are not doing an SEO course. Only to suffices to say that if you're searching for dentist Los Angeles and none of those keywords exist on the page, well, that's just dumb, right? It makes sense. Get them on there, and synonyms, related terms. That's going to be very important. The contact info on the page, phone numbers, geo sitemaps, site architecture. I'm not going to dive too much into this, but links are important. The ease of navigation and access and engagement. Are people just liking your site? I mean, forget about the search engine for a second. Whip up your own site. Show it to 10 people. Show it to some friends of yours, some people in the office, and just ask them, this question. Where would you click if you came to this site? And within 2 seconds, what seems to be the most prevalent option? Clearly, there's going to be some that are just looking up for the phone number. They already know you and they missed the phone number. But there's going to be new people that come on there and find you. What are they going to do? I'm going to show you a pretty horrendous example later. But we need a an SEO optimized page or website. Now, 10. We're at the end of the secrets list. Full address on contact page. Don't hide that in text, not in Flash. Don't try to be cute here. So this is the full name of the business, the address, phone numbers, all of it. And this is very important. And this is not the place to list just 3, 4, 5, 6 different offices. We're thinking in terms of segmentation, and silos is another term. Black and white. We don't want to go gray here. We want it to be very clear. What is it that we're trying to optimize for? And so if it's one office, one location, then have a domain for that, a top-level domain, and have the content and the text support it in that local environment. There's a little bit of an it depends here if you are in a franchise network, but we're not going to go too deep on this now. You can send me a question on this if you have one. So there are more things that we used to look at in local search, but we don't have to worry too much about it. There used to be this notion that if you were closer to the city centroid, which, by the way, you can find if you go to maps.google.com and just type in the city, you'll see a little pinhead or whatever that red little icon is, right? That's going to describe for you what the city centroid is. And post boxes, vacant lots. I mean, these are spammy, what we call black hat spam. People are actually just moving post boxes close to the city. Vacant lots, going out and finding just a vacant lot close to the city and just register that as an address. And so the bottom line here, though, is you don't really actually need a website. I'm sure you've seen it when you go out and search. You actually can be listed at the top there with no website and just Google Places. But I don't recommend that if you're building a brand, and you should be, and you're building a serious business, and you should be. So just wanted to mention this. So before I continue, let's review really quick the tools. You need to get yourself over to getlisted.org, localese.com, ubl.org. Those are paid, those last two I mentioned. InfoUSA has some great services as well. And here's one. Go into Google and just type in Google Keyword Tool. The first result there is going to be that tool. Just go ahead and type in your keywords for your business, and you'll discover very quickly many keywords that are listed that are associations for essentially that main term that you typed in, and would give you some ideas for pages you can build out, perhaps even more keywords you can add to an existing page, and also just expand your mind a little bit about how incredibly big this keyword space is and how important it is. So I advise you to go and check these tools out. Okay, so we're going to dive into some examples. Remember I talked about this, and you're in for a surprise here, because I think if you show by what not to do, you'll learn a lot, right? And here we go. So before we do, let me just show you a quick sort of display of what I'm talking about. Dentist Los Angeles, right? In this example, you see the top 3 listings first in the yellow highlight. On the right, you see the map and the paid. Well, that's the paid listings, right? That's kind of that. I guess that would be. Well, I don't know what character that would be, but it's top and right. In the middle there, it's organic. This is the local listings that are showing up with the phone numbers. You see the place pages, etc. And actually, if we scroll further down on this screenshot, which it is, so I can't scroll, but you'd see sort of the natural organic listings. And this is a kind of a blended result here that we're looking at in the paid organic or paid local and organic. But this is what we're looking at. And being in the top placements here is going to be more important than further down, of course. I mean, it's basically people who are above the fold, where you can actually see it right away. Now, here's an example of Alex Parsi. And Alex, if this is you, sorry, but we're using you as an example. There's some great stuff in here, and not so great stuff. But here's an example of an owner-verified listing. See that little green checkbox across the picture with the sun and the big buildings? Well, he's been in here, and he's verified Los Angeles endodontics, and he set up some categories. Remember we talked about the categories? There they are. Dentist, health, medical, pain. So he's been expanding that categories area, and as well as, notice at the bottom, the photos and the pictures. Well, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Starting to build out a pretty solid profile. Now, he has several things he hasn't put in here, but that's okay. Hopefully he's building this out. But the truth is, Alex A. Parsi DDS is not a great LBL, a local business listing title. That title should have a keyword in it or expansion of that DDS. In fact, Alex A. Parsi might be the thing that he puts in parentheses or at the end. In truth, depending on some of the authority that he's built, he doesn't even need to put that in, because by the time you put Alex A. Parsi, his site is going to show up by default. Google will know about it. So this is kind of the example of a profile. And if you want to set this up, just go to places.google.com yourself, right? And here we go. Here's his website. Now, this is what I was talking about, horrendous. And again, Alex, I apologize, but within seconds, can you tell me where I should click here? Well, I got to scan now. And where's the phone number? Oh, wait a second. It's over. Well, you sort of have lost me already. The phone number is not even very visible. I had to actually look for that the first time. So if you were just to ask, does this show trust, an authority, and does it engage me? No. No, as in 72-point bold no. And if you look down at the code here, and I know several of you on the call is not going to be into the code, but just look at the code for a second with me. It says HTML and then head and then title, Los Angeles Downtown Endodontics, Dr. Alex Parsi, AA Tech Design. What is that? Well, it certainly has nothing to do with his website in terms of, trying to speak to keywords and relevancy. It's the firm probably that did this for him. I doubt they're trying to actually optimize for it, or they could be as sneaky as that. But This is just very bad. The author, the page enter exit, the generator, yeah, okay, AA Tech Design, those are the guys that did it. The keywords, it's just full of keywords. It's not being used anymore, and you're giving away the keywords you're trying to go for to the competition. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but it's not helpful. So this is just a way of describing what not to do. And of course, when you get in here and you look at this, what is the sun and the building all about? Shouldn't that be a smiley face with white teeth? And it's sort of just, it keeps me away from the site. I don't feel like these guys are very personal at all. In fact, if they had put a video here right smack in the middle with testimonials and just done that, that would be awesome, right? And what if I'm just doing research right now? Where is the, I'd like to get to know them a little bit. Well, there is Meet the Doctor, but perhaps I just want to sign up and get some information from them. There's no email box here. There's no way that I can sign up for a newsletter, perhaps. Very, very cold, distant kind of site. Don't like it. Did I say I didn't like it? Okay, I did. Okay, now I'm going to read you all of this, but the sites here, this is actually the real secret. This is from Google engineers that deal with the ranking factors at local. And I'll explain this grid in a second, but right at the bottom it says that the sites that are well linked to from other top ranked results might get an additional ranking boost on some search queries. Well, the word might, right? There are no guarantees in this, and that's why I sort of want to drill this home. If there are people out there who call you, pitch you, and yeah, I'll get you up there in a week or 30 days, and it's basically BS because they have no way of knowing, because Google changes all the time, right? And we all know that, and so that's why you want to be careful with that. Now, that grid that you see there is for Dentist Los Angeles. And it turns out that the first, second, and the fifth, you see the three checkboxes at the top, they all have an incoming link from YouTube. Now, videos are huge. It's the second largest search engine, Google being the first, and Google owns YouTube, so why not, right? And it's part of that universal search concept that I mentioned earlier, so you could have videos showing up in results as well. And here we clearly see these are indicators of success. So the checkboxes mean that the YouTube is actually a reference in the first, second, and fifth position. Fox LA is the second one. In the third, you have the total smile in number one. That's probably a reference from another site they may have partnered with, etc. And number four, right? Remember I talked about those local niche directories? Well, here's one, Health Profs, and it's the dentist category. So here's a link from those guys to the one that's listed in number four. And then there's Yellow Pages in number six. And so you want to think about getting a distribution and a diversity, essentially, from these different places. And again, this is ongoing, but it's easy to do with a little bit of work each week. So without further ado, let's dive into places and things. Again, I'm going to pause here for a second, guys, and just tell you, if it's been overwhelming thus far, don't worry, because I'm going to show you the few first things that you need to start with. However, just like when you're doing research for any particular topic, if you know sort of the landscape or the marketplace or the more 360 view into what you're looking at, you can carve this up into the slices that you need for that particular time period. You don't have to do all of this, but it's important that you know. Plus, there's going to be some of you here who have perhaps done a lot of the things that I just spoke about, missing a few, but then need some more ideas. Well, I'd like to extend that here. Facebook Places. Are you there? Well, you should be. Facebook.com Places. GoWalla, Foursquare/.com businesses. That area allows you to deal with special mobile deals. 6 million plus users, I believe now. Nothing to sneeze at, right? Review sites. I'm going to show you that in a second. Hotpot. That's another Google property. Groupon, collective buying power. Google also have now these, what they call boost ads. Actually, it's a little bit different, but here are the $25 tag ads. And Google is actually calling. You may have received a call from Google and freaked out a little bit because they're actually calling you. I had an article on this that was picked up on New York Times at the beginning of the year, and yes, they are. It's sort of an advertising trick. They're actually calling you up to push that particular model because it's one that they feel is valuable, but also is attainable. It's not a huge cost. Places.google.com /tags, special promos, etc. You want to check that out. Yext, business highlights, similar to what I just described, and that goes into Yahoo, Yelp, MapQuest, etc. Facebook ads, awesome. I mean, you talk about the holy grail here. This would be it in terms of the demographics targeting, the psychographics, the technographics, all of this stuff that really builds down to the most core of marketing. Who's your audience? Who can you target? If you throw a message out there to a bunch of folks who like antique cars, your dentist ads are not going to be very relevant to them, right? It's going to be basically a void. But if you can target down to the right people, the right audience with the right geo, not only are you doing yourself a great service, but you can get this at a very low cost right now. Google AdWords still extremely viable. Of course, you must be there. You should do it. And we call that paid search. And when I say Google, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be on Bing as well, which is Microsoft. But we like to start with Google. Listings, local.yahoo.com. I talked about that. Get there. And you know what? AdWords call metrics. This was introduced, I think, in the latter part of 2010. This allows you to do one thing a little bit better combined with Google Voice, is assign a phone number for your ads so that people can call in and you can track to see conversions from that. I mean, that's pretty powerful. There are many tools in this area. I'm not going to go into that it goes way beyond the call metrics area. But if you've ever wondered about that you should check it out, right? And of course, just when I say paperwork, I mean, we talk so much about online. You may already be doing offline stuff. And what I'm talking about there is, postcards, brochures, things that you receive or send out in the mail. And those also can invite reviews. Come on in, get a discount for a particular service. And if you review us, and, we'll give 10% off to your friend, etc. I mean, you don't have to be too inventive there. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. But listen, there's a lot of stuff you can do, right? So with that said, let's dive into the following slide, where I promised you I'd share the top directories and the ones that are rated by most important. Super Pages on the left, Info USA, I mentioned, Yellow Pages, niche industry sites, talked about that for the dentistry. Remember that example on was it Dentist Profs or Health Profs, right? Local Easy Yelp. You want to be here and make sure that your data is consistent. Same with the review sites. And remember how I said spread them out, right? Not just one particular site. Well, go to Yelp, use Yahoo, Google, City Search, etc. And if you're not on Judy's book, maybe you should be, right? That's one of those particular review sites that maybe doesn't come up too often in your world. Well, I should also mention that when you're doing some of this, and again, not a lot of time here, but you're going to come across your competition. It's very easy to go out to some of these properties and Yahoo and City Search, type in their name. Is Bob Smith, and his dentistry showing up? Well, see what he's doing and get a sense for it, right? Especially if he's ahead of you, because you'll see that he'll probably have reviews from a wide variety of sources, including these review sites, not just one. But you know what? Here is a very important slide in terms of the money. We've talked about client getting up to this point. We're going to break a little bit from that, and we're going to dive into the money side. And I'm going to use some very, very simple assumptions here, and dealing basically with a $3,000 booking. So what that means is that if you are right now getting 1,000 visitors to your website and it's a 1% conversion, see the math there? Well, that's 10 new leads essentially. And if they convert to business at 3,000, well, that's $30,000. Pretty simple, right? Now, the next below that is the kind of quote unquote the new model. The assumption here is that we have applied all these things that I just described, and we get it to 66 visitors a day. Well, the math is easy. 2,000 times 1. Now we're going to get into 20, 30. It's 60. For the year, that's $360,000 in new business. And that's pretty exciting. And of course, you need to make sure that you have web analytics and conversion code in there. So if you look at this and think about, what can I do here? You can clearly increase the traffic, which this model shows, or you can stay within the same traffic number and just tune your website, your web pages. The one that we saw wasn't highly tuned, right? There's a great book. I don't think I mentioned it, right? It's called Don't Make Me Think by Steve Kruger. it's so great. I mean, go to any of these websites. If they make you think, where should I click? Where should I engage? Well, guess what the user feels like, right? They're not going to do the same. They're not going to engage either. So you might want to spend a little time on the website and tweak it up, add some videos, add some engagement forms, have them take a quiz. There's many things you can do here to tweak it. So pretty exciting for this model. And this is not talking about, changing price points or selling more of, a particular product. That's just exciting stuff that you can put on top of this. But wow, I would say this is pretty cool. So final words before we get to exit this entire webinar. And again, certainly appreciate you being with me all this time. It's time for you to get to work. Again, you could probably read it right there. I just put in "just do it." I mean, it's the Nike slogan all over, right? You've heard it before. We need to help you get by this. Yeah, I'll get to it whenever. I'll get to it next week, or I don't know where to start, and so I'm not going to do anything. It's well, I'm too busy, and I mean it's all the stuff we do, right? And frankly, yeah, if you are busy, that's good. But there are some things we can help you with, and hey, I just slid in my little help button here. If you want to press that help button, well, you can do it by going to that local strategy session. It's essentially more of me here, but we get to actually talk about your business and into your life a little bit to find out how I can help you personally. I'm trying to keep this a very limited kind of approach. I actually only have a certain number of people that I can take on, and 25 is currently the limit. There should be a link that you see on this page as well that you can click on, and you can do that anytime. It opens up in the new window. But I'm going to continue just talking here for a little bit. I really do care, as I hope you've gotten a sense of, to help you with your business. But I'm here to perhaps whip you a little bit, right? Because you don't need another pretty face or hypey messages, and you're gonna make it when in fact you can make it, but you have to actually do some work, right? That's what it gets down to. And I know from my experience and dealing with businesses that out of 10 people that come in to want to take and do something, nine will do very little, and one person or maybe half of a person will actually do something. It's just a law that's been built out there. Now, I don't think that's you. That's my hope. And I really like to encourage you to visit this completely complimentary session. And there is no hard sales or pitching or anything. In fact, when we hang up, I hope that you will hang up and say, wow, that was extremely helpful. I really enjoyed that. And so anyway, we do also, this is very secondary here, but we have a group of like-minded people who also meet, and that might be something you could consider at some point. But really, for right now, you have some things to do, right? And I just want to, again, thank you. And here's the pretty face I was talking about. Not. But the truth is, the time spent here is of most concern. You have taken some time in your day to set aside to join me here. And time is the most precious asset. And I know this to be very true these days with my twin boys at 4 and my daughter at 7, who are just growing by leaps and bounds. And can't wait to spend even more time in the future, but right now we're having a lot of fun. I just did not want to waste your time and hope this was helpful. And if you'd like to take it a few steps further, then I invite you to join my completely complimentary local strategy session. And if you want, I'm not sharing this in mass signups, but there is that link you see in the slide here, freewebinarsignups.com. If you liked it and you have another professional that might want to join up, I am running this again, so feel free. And again, thank you. And if you have any questions, make sure you fire them off, and I'll reply to all of them myself. Okay? Jan signing off, and I'll talk to you very soon. Okay.